You know what people loved throughout Naruto and Naruto Shippuden? The people who all shaped Naruto's journey from a little boy bullied by his village to becoming the Hokage of it. The people we came to know as Konoha 12. And you know why people love the whole concept of the Konoha 12 so much? I'd argue it's probably because they almost all had personality of which either complemented or challenged Naruto's in such a way that his character became more intriguing and more complex as a result. With the introduction of the Sand siblings not too long after establishing Konoha 12 too, this only continued to develop Naruto as a protagonist and Sasuke and Sakura as deuteragonists even more. Did I say that right? Anyway. Each character became loved and well known because of this, making the series even more popular than it could get. And so when Boruto, Naruto Next Generations came around and teased the idea of a new Konoha 12, of course we got excited. However, I'd like to argue today that perhaps this new generation of Konoha 12 needs a bit of TLC, tender love and care. I'll try to make it as quick as possible as to not bore you too much with my ramble tonight. Okay, guys? With that being said, I should greet you guys properly. Hello, my little Jimbos, Jimbobs, and Jimbobinas. How are you? I'm great. And let's give the new generation of Boruto, Naruto Next Generation some TLC and review, rewrite, or flat out retcon all of the new Konoha 12. This will be a series because of the fact that one, I realize this single video will be way too lengthy if I try to shove everything into it all at once. Two, I won't have enough time to squeeze as much writing into it as I might want to anyway. And three, ultimately I'm trying, albeit struggling, to maintain my once a week, preferably on Wednesdays, uploading schedule. So yeah, this will be a series, and today we will cover one team of the new gen Konoha 12. So let's start with Team 15. Team 15 is a bit of a special team, and this is because, as far as I know, Team 15 is the first team where everyone is of the same sex. Originally, this team was made up of Namada, Wasabi, and Sumire, but since Sumire left the team, a new member joined, and as a result, Team 15 is currently made up of 3 girls, Namada and Wasabi, of course, and then the newest member, Tsubaki, a samurai from the Land of Iron, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Out of all of these girls, personally, I think Tsubaki is perhaps the most interesting, as she already is. She's probably the most canonically interesting, I'd argue, out of the 3 of those girls. She has a very cute aesthetic, a very cute pink girly aesthetic design, and her personality isn't too bad. And truthfully, I think her being a samurai in a village of ninjas alone sets her up to play a very interesting role in the overall conflict Boruto is teased to confront based on the beginning of the series, which is whether or not there is any worth to the shinobi lifestyle. However, so many chapters and so many episodes later, it seems this was not the intentions of Tsubaki's character. I can't quite say what the point of her character is actually meant to be, canonically. If nothing else, to try to be fair, I don't think we're at a point in time in the series, even still, where characters like Tsubaki actually are relevant to the overall plot. But regardless, I couldn't help but just look at her and think being the kind of writer I am, the slight change I'd like to make regarding Tsubaki is to turn her into some kind of parallel to Boruto. So she won't be a parallel character or even a foil to Boruto per se, but she would share a parallel theme to Boruto's ultimate dilemma. In the period of peace, does the age of the samurai mean anything? Or rather, like, does the samurai lifestyle mean anything? What is it worth? Does it even matter? You know, I imagine she and Boruto will butt heads over a lot of things, like the values, beliefs, and overall culture of samurai compared to shinobi, which is better or more sensible, and other childish, self-serving things like that. Their dynamic would probably feel kind of similar to Naruto and Neji's dynamic in part 1 of the Naruto series, if I was able to write Tsubaki at least. I'd definitely want them to have a sort of Naruto and Neji, you know, fate and destiny versus hard work sort of like dynamic. Like, I'd want Tsubaki and Boruto to sort of mimic that in their own ways. I imagine that eventually they'd get along better the more they mature, even though I think canonically Tsubaki is supposed to be pretty mature for her age. And they will eventually realize that they're fighting to uphold the lifestyle of their ancestors. And they will realize that this is a common interest that can ultimately allow them to become friends rather than enemies, or kids from the same class who just generally don't see eye to eye. As for Wasabi and Namada, the biggest flaw I see in these two characters is that there's just not that much substance to them, apart from Wasabi being like a Neko girl, I guess. Okay, a cat girl, and Namada being basically the new gen Hinata, but like somehow even more lacking in characterization. Around the Chunin exams, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, of course, there seemed as if there was supposed to be some sort of genuine insight regarding Wasabi's family and her relationship with her clan's special ability. However, what could have been a pivotal moment that turned Wasabi from an uber generic side character, well, more like background character, to an at least mildly interesting supporting character, instead it was turned into a gag. It was turned into a gag, and it just sucks. Oh my gosh. And it's just like, oh, the most special thing Wasabi's clan can do is summon a giant cat statue. It's so funny. Like, bro, come on. So to make it quite simple, I think Wasabi's attempts at having a real personality is like fine, in the sense of it's believable, to me at least. From what we've seen of her personality so far, she's a little hot-headed and like impulsive, and is somewhat of a tomboy. Or I mean, I think she's supposed to be some kind of tomboy. What I don't like the most with Wasabi as a character is that, like, the key moments where she could have had some development or retained development, the writers did not allow it to happen for some reason. Like, the thing with her clan's special jutsu, again, like, they turned it into a gag, but personally, I would have made it into a sort of, like, honestly, I think it would have been really cool if it was, like, some sort of, like, special torture device kind of jutsu. Sorry, I'm titling that weird. I don't really know what else to call a tactic like this off the top of my head. But this clan jutsu would work essentially like Ibiki's jutsu, you know, and basically I figured her clan's jutsu could be like a strange kind of capture and torture device, or if nothing else, like some sort of capture device or entrapment device. Like, it worked no different than Ibiki's Iron Maiden jutsu or his torture chamber summon. Might I go even further and say that it probably wasn't necessary in the first place to create an entirely new clan for Wasabi, in that she could have just been a child from the Morino clan and, you know, be a part of the same clan as Ibiki. Just saying, especially because, like, they actually do kind of have a similar summon, so it's like she really didn't need her whole, like, own clan. You could have just made her a descendant from Ibiki's clan. But anyway, now for Namada. I'm not gonna lie, I had to read about her on the Naruto wiki because, like, no offense, Namada stands or whatever, but like, oh my gosh, your girl, your favorite girl Namada, she is just very bland, like boring. I'm sorry. Off the top of my head, I really couldn't say much about her. She's just like the generic nice girl with the twin tail starter pack and high collar jacket and everything. Like, it feels like she was intentionally made to be as relatively uninteresting as possible, which sucks, because I believe that every character has something special to offer if the writers allow it. And you know what the saddest part is? Even the Naruto wiki didn't have much to say about her. Like, she truly is a nearly blank canvas. But I suppose it's fine, because that means she's pretty much fair game as far as retconning goes. But it really just sucks though, because I just kind of feel like Namina was suggested to be a character to give a shit about, given that she and her teammates were included in the openings and endings of Boruto numerous times, and even currently in the latest opening, which I think is like opening 11, I think. Like, she's in there. Like, Namina and her team and all the other new gen characters, like they're in there as if they're important, as if we're going to want to know about them. But I honestly have my doubts about whether or not we're going to get to know much more about them, with the way that Boruto as a series tends to treat the other new gen characters. With the way that they've all been treated so far, I honestly doubt if we're really going to get to know them, even though they've been included in the openings and endings numerous times. So it's like, sure, Namida and her team are in the latest opening and probably ending to a Boruto, and yet it's very obvious that Boruto right now, the series, it focuses so much more on the Uzumaki siblings, including Kawaki in current times, and then Sarada and Mitsuki. And it just often makes me sit here and think, bro, why do they keep including these other characters as if they matter that much to the story? Because they really don't. You could take out the characters and not too much would really change, to be very honest. But I digress. I hope I get to eat my words later, and that all the other new gen characters get actual development, like Namina, for example. With that being said, I honestly was rather bothered by what little canon information there is about her. And, you know, it really bothered me because I wanted to make a small comic about her in Boruto, among a few other characters. And it was very difficult trying to write the battle for her feature comic, because her powers kind of confused me, to be honest. Like, someone explain it to me in the comments if you can. But what weirded me out is that she has water release and yet has also used sound-based abilities. So basically, I was curious as to why she has like two kinds of abilities that aren't common to Hidden Leaf characters at all, let alone have anything to do with each other. Like, most ninjas from the Leaf Village have either fire or wind-based, like, is it chakra natures or nature chakras, whatever. Most of them have an affinity for either fire or wind-based chakra. So it kind of weirded me out that she's supposedly from a small, probably like native, I guess, regular schmegular clan, and yet doesn't have something like wind release. I don't know. Her set of jutsus felt relatively unrelated, to the point where I struggled to think of what jutsus to use for her fight scene. You know, especially given that she barely has a list of jutsus to use anyway, that actually feel like something that belongs to her character. Anyway, I won't spend too much longer on her. I just think it'd be fun to take her character and make it y'all might want to get me for this one, because I said I didn't want wasabi to be a gag, but for Namida, I think it'd be kind of funny, or not funny, but fun, to take her character and make it into some sort of gag in its own right, okay? But not like a Chocho type gag, or even a wasabi and her clan jitsu type gag. Not necessarily, this isn't meant to be like a funny gag per se, but instead I was thinking, like, maybe instead of shy, quiet, and nice, maybe she could have a personality a little more similar to Shino in Naruto Shippuden, or Muichiro from Demon Slayer, perhaps. Or basically, I think it'd be fun to flip this trope on its head and have a shy, quiet, somewhat crass girl with a sweet side rather than an overall always nice, super generic girly girl. Of course, it's totally fair if you don't like the idea of that at all. I'm just spitballing and feel no desire to change the way anyone feels about any character in Boruto or the show itself, so please don't get in the comments like, you're trying to change how I feel about... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Look, I'm just a random lady on the internet. You don't need to like or agree with my opinions, my takes. It don't mean much to me. Anywho, that's it for Team 15, and that is also all we're gonna do today. In the next part of this series, I will cover another team from the new gen, Konoha 12. Thanks for watching. Happy belated Thanksgiving, and all of you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night.